Hi. I meant to say hi. I did it again. I said hello. Hi, it's me, King Polly, and welcome to King Pollys World, the podcast that has it all. Guts, glory, and all that jazz. I'm joined today by the man of the hour, and I know that you will never get tired of him as a guest, because I haven't gotten tired of him as a husband. It's King Pollys Husband. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
So happy you could be here today.
Grateful to be here. Grateful to be here. This is interesting. This is fun.
It's so fun. It's definitely gotten fun.
Yeah, I'm glad today that we have a lighter format.
Yes. Last episode was pretty heavy. Very heavy. And this week, we want to have some fun. We want to keep it light. Because, you know, life is all about those peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. And today's a peak. Pikes Peak.
Pikes Peak.
From where I hail in Colorado. No, but we are here live from a townhouse in Vegas. It's a cold winter's day. And we've entered 2022. And only blue skies ahead. But we thought it'd be fun if we talked about our origin story. How we met.
It's funny when you say origin story. Like, it's just interesting.
So
that word.
Maybe because I'm on TikTok, but I'm seeing a lot of TikToks that are talking about their villain origin story. So I guess it's in my mind. Like, it's really funny, you know, like capturing somebody walking home with all these bags that just suddenly break and you just see them go. It would be, oh, that's his villain origin story. So this is our, I guess, origin story.
There it is.
Wouldn't you say?
We'll see. Yeah, that's our intention.
Today I read this thing that said perfect partner for me would kind of make me less confident or like question my ability, humble me, analyze.
I told you to take a picture of it so you can read it.
I have it, but it's on my phone that's filming us.
Well, then you should have sent it to me.
I only have one phone to film us.
You should have sent it to me.
Okay.
I think it was something about just questioning you and someone that could stand up to you and just hold you accountable.
Something like that.
Something like that. Something that you need but don't want.
Exactly. That's what marriage is. It's something you need but you don't want. It is. You want it, but you also don't want it. Sometimes, again, everything has its shadow, everything has its give and take. It's not all butterflies and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Although we did just eat a really good English muffin with peanut butter.
Yeah. Really fancy car, get you a really fancy car payment.
We're more of Toyota Camry people.
Yep. Paid off Toyota Camry people after 4 years.
Yeah.
So grateful.
So grateful.
5 years, whatever.
Charles. Do you guys name your cars? I got that from you. Because my whole time I had my Hyundai, I rocked a Hyundai Elantra 05 from 05 to...
Say 05 one more time.
To when? 2016? 2015?
16, I think. 16.
Wow. 11 years. Ooh, that baby. That baby got me places that I shouldn't have gone. But that's neither here nor there.
What I feel is interesting is I can't remember riding in it ever for the life of me.
That's so weird because you did.
I hear you.
My favorite thing about that car was that on the driver's side cushion, down by where you buckle in your seatbelt was just a smear of makeup, flesh-colored makeup. Because
did you wipe your hand?
Yes. So I, from 18 till 2015,
11 years,
however old I was then, I would always, on some level be in a rush and be leaving the house, and the last part of my makeup to do would be my under eye concealer, because I could not leave the house without covering up my under eyes. Now I don't give a shit, but that decade I really did. And so I would walk out with it just dabbed under my eyes, and then driving halfway through, I would use my ring finger to blot it in, and then I'd rub the excess on my cushion and go, here we go, looking good. But you never noticed it? The makeup smudge? You don't even remember being in the car.
Yeah. But I remember the makeup smudge. No, joking.
And then the passenger door handle was ripped off. And there was an old bright pink Roxy sticker on the back for many moons. And that's how you could tell it was me. Be like, whoa, Old Yeller.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I don't really remember having the desire to ever have you drive up until like a couple years ago. Like I always just had to be in control.
And I loved that.
And there was no way I was going to pick driving that Hyundai over my car until we got Charles, until we got the Camry.
It really worked out to my advantage. I love being driven around by you. Thank you. Do you still like driving me, or now you're like, okay, come on?
I just don't like driving as much, period. It's not about driving you around or not driving you around. I just don't like driving in traffic and at night with lights.
It's so
weird.
different. I used to love driving, and now I'm like, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. But it's totally different, too. Like, if you give me, like, hey, you want to go drive to Red Rock or Mount Charleston versus the grocery store.
Nice.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so let's take it back to June 12th of 2015. How long ago was that? 6.5 years ago. And it was at the end of a full cycle of self-discovery. And 2014, I'd really been about finding some sense of health and healing. I stopped getting drunk, which was a big deal, because that is how I coped and lived my life. And I really just became about yoga and what I ate, and then I learned about breathing and how much that affects everything. And I quit smoking cigarettes after a decade, which was crazy. And I did all these things, right? Went on a yoga retreat, and I was like, okay, the last thing I have to do is find my one. That's it. I've done this stuff. I've sort of cut this chain of toxicity that has ran my life until now. And it was like, all right, Match.com, here I come. And I took the last of the money I had and I signed up for a 1-month membership for $39.99 because I had just I'd quit a job that I hated more than anything. Not more than anything, but it had gotten so bad. Waiting tables. How can you not want to quit that job eventually? So money was dwindling, but I was, selling my art and my herbs. So I was, thinking that would sustain me. And anyways, I signed up for Match.com. And that very same day, I got a message from you. Okay. How about you lead us up until that point?
You want me to give my little setup?
Yeah, your little setup. If
So
you
I
can.
think I was on Match.com for at least 30 to 60, maybe 90 days. And I would almost kind of given up on it. And I think had been kind of probably like a year and a half without really dating. And I had gone on, I think maybe like 2 or 3 little meetups that just didn't go very well. And then I was going through Match.com, and there was a thing where you can like see like new members, like the new members sign in, and you popped up, and I remember looking through your profile, but then you said that you didn't want kids or you weren't interested with someone that had kids. And I was like, all right, fair enough, I'll respect. And then I like closed out, went away, and like I think I like exited out of it or something. And then there was just like there was that line that you said in there of like meditation's my homeboy in your profile or something at some point, and it just I don't know, it just like called me back, and it like gave me hope. Like your profile gave me hope that there was maybe someone out there for me, and like at some level like I had to just like say thank you for being you. And so I did, I did something you said you saw earlier, and you have it. But yeah, so that's me.
You remind me of how, like you said, you'd been on there so long and whatever, right? And I was like right out of a relationship, like right out. But my whole life I've always been that way, like just really quickly move on. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad. That's just me. And so I thought, I was all healed and good and perfect and ready to go, which turned out not to be the case after some therapy. And you have just always been so self-aware. And I'm not saying you're perfect or anything, right? But this element of your self-awareness literally it rubbed off on me so much. Like I wouldn't be who I am had I not met you. Like I literally walked into our first date thinking I'm cured and good and I'm healthy and which to a point, right? I'd overcome a lot, I'd faced a lot, but it's just funny that what I couldn't do alone, what I couldn't clean up alone, what I couldn't heal, there are just certain things I couldn't do alone. And you became that missing piece.
What's coming up for me is this element of like a mirror, and then this element of like writing and doing some form of an inventory, whether some form of like a 12-step process. And like you always did a lot of writing, like you have so much writing, like you're always checking in with spirit, writing, trying to discover the truth, trying to find the clarity of the mental tornado. And I think for me, like when you talk about just so much awareness, it was just at that point like I just had done so much work. Like when we had met, like that was like that was 10 years of me just like at that point 2015. Yeah, I mean, just 10 years of me just really just trying to recover from my life, my childhood, my pain, the divorce, the suicide, just checking in with, my dysfunctions and my areas of addiction and abundance that I was excess in certain areas. And yeah, you just when you focus on it, you get awareness. Awareness is a gift.
And that was one of the things too. I had never met somebody where it was like, oh, like I'm not here to fix him. Like it was really that, like just like I wasn't there to teach you something. I wasn't there to try to it just was totally different. Like I felt like I met my partner.
There was something that I feel like me and you both had kind of experienced and shifted out of and really wanted to let go of. when we had gotten to the point of coming together, I felt like we, at some level, wanted to stop playing games. Whether or not we were still not playing games, we had yet to be conscious of. But, there was this desire of like, fuck, man, like, I really would like to just make something work. I really would like to make
100.
something work and not trying to seek, like, I think we both were seeking God for help to, so it was that. And I think another thing that kind of came up for me, I think just walking up here to do this podcast, this thought of just, it was a big difference for me, this idea of when someone's in a relationship, when it's just two people, and then it's like with God, because it's like something happened when I recognized like, oh, I need to let God be in charge of our relationship so that me and you aren't fighting for being in charge. Because if God's not in charge, then one of us is fighting to be in charge.
Yeah. And that was too, this is the first relationship I've had like that where there's a connection to God first.
It's not always easy to be conscious of that because you exist in, like, I want what I want. That's how we're human.
Right.
The human experience.
And something too, which is funny and goes to show like the mind is like the fact that I didn't want to be with anybody who had kids because I was just coming from that. And it was so painful to leave and that element of like the mind and, well, I'll just put this invisible fence over here and I just don't want to do what I've done in the past because then that's a surefire way to win and succeed and not fail.
What's interesting is I felt the same way though. Like I wanted to find someone that didn't want kids and didn't have kids, but it was okay with my two kids, because I could really relate to the pain because my previous relationship was, a breakup with, a little kid and two, and it sucked. It sucks when you get older and you get in these relationships, and if they become like committed long-term relationship and there's other kids involved, it's like, fuck, man, you're breaking up with not only that person but that kid too.
Well, and truthfully, that has been like that. The fact that you had Kybella and Brayden, it made it so I had to take this seriously. Like it made it so I couldn't just burst in like a flame and then leave, right? It was real. There were other souls, there were connections, there were things so much bigger than me that I was so grateful for, that it was like one of those things. As soon as you messaged me and I saw you had kids, it was instantly like, okay, well, yeah, okay, then this is what is meant for me. I was pretty open.
Yeah, like I said, I had to just thank you for you just gave me hope, and then I respected where you're at, but I had to like kind of at least give it a shot too, and I definitely felt like I had pictures up on my profile that showed that I was a little bit more of an aware parent, and my kids and us, it wasn't like two crazy wild little kids running around. Like I had two older pretty well behaved kids.
It's so crazy too, because so before I got your message, what?
No, keep going. You're good.
So that day I signed up, but right before I got your message, right? Of course, this is how the universe works. I get a message from literally, it would be like the ghost of Christmas past, right? Like just everything my ego would choose and I would have gone for before. And this message, at first, it was like, oh, this is perfect. Oh my gosh. And it wasn't until I got your message that I could see the juxtaposition and the reality of like, oh my God, this guy, it was all fluff. It's all ego. It's all bullshit. And I almost fell for it again. Like that element of me going like, oh my God, no. And just being so thankful though that then there was you. And it was just so crystal clear, like that the old way was done and the new way was open. And and two, it was right around like my grandma's birthday and the anniversary of her death. And on some level, I felt her in sending you to me. And in a lot of ways, just being able to live that healthy relationship out for every woman that came before me and every man. It's turned out to be a really beautiful gift. I jumped ahead there, but you know what I mean. So then you messaged me and boom, we met 3 days later. The 15th, 14th.
It was Sunday in 2015. We've gone through this, and I'm pretty sure it's 15th, but it is a debate that we constantly have to Google
14th
to
or
figure
15th.
it out. Yeah.
It's actually 14th, I think. I don't know.
Sunday 2015.
Anyways, we went to Archie's. Good old
Thai
Archie's.
restaurant.
In Village Square on Sahara. And
I think it's fair to mention my message to you. I like it. What was it again?
what message?
I said, would you like to get together or something? And
Oh, yeah. It was so sweet. You said, we live on the same side of town. Would you like to get together maybe for a smoothie or to break bread? You said it seems like we exist on similar plane. And it was just like, whoa. And I've often described it as like, it was like all of a sudden the minute my soul was ready, right? Like there was just this like bloop, and we were just like magnets. Against all odds, like from the outside, it probably looked very nuts to people, especially if you had known me. They're like, oh, this ain't gonna last. And it's like, bitch, you don't know how much work I've been doing inside. This better fucking last, okay?
yeah, you don't know the magic of God. You know the X factor. God's always the X factor. You don't know what lies underneath people and what they're dealing with and what their magic recipe is. But I think it was cool too, because what's coming up for me is like there was this like fear of like, someone, because like there was that one girl lived in Boulder City that I ended up meeting up with, and then that we did live kind of on the same side of town, and it was like, did give me this excited like, ooh, like this, like I don't know, this is like I don't know, this like feels like it just felt, and then Archie's, which was a Thai restaurant that was already kind of dear to me and the kids, and we met there, and it was right across the street from where you lived and where you had lived quite a few times. It was just, and you were already there, so set the tone for
Fort
our
Apache,
first
baby.
date.
I've lived on Fort Apache for years. Well, what's funny is, I really was freaking out the night before the date. Really freaking out. I didn't want to go. Like, I was getting really nervous. And then I pulled a tarot card, which I love to do. Any form of oracle. Just open a book, whatever. But I pulled a tarot card, and it basically said, like, you could be sitting right across from your soulmate and not know it unless you pull your head out of your ass. And I was like, okay, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull my head out of my ass. And I had already kind of committed to doing everything kind of opposite how I normally did. I had recently listened to this Hone Your Heart magnet thing online. And that's what made me even want to do online dating. She said, it's not online dating, it's online meeting. And I had exited the bar scene. And I no longer wanted to drink, let alone find my next partner that way. And so I felt good after pulling that card. And then the next day, though, I was breathing on the floor. I was in child's pose. I was like, please God, please God. And then I showed up first. And as soon as I walked in, there was this like old guy sitting there holding a beer. And I swear I thought it was you. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I just got catfish. And like, oh, and he's drinking right here. Like, and then it wasn't you. And then so they sat me down, and then they walked you in, and it was so sweet. Because I remember you said, I'm here to meet this young lady right here. I was like, oh. And then you ordered tea. And I was like,
Hot tea.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, a man that orders hot tea. Sign me up.
I was in a good spot in my life. I was just doing that last 12 to 18 months, man. I was in like, I had a lot of commitments. I worked on the weekends, grave. And then during the week, I had the kids. And then when they were at school, I just had all these somewhat commitments to myself, someone else, the community. I was just in a good, really good space. The best space up until that point in my life, for sure. I just committed to doing the work and just like, I remember somewhere in the aspect of that last breakup, which was really painful for me. And, like, I really heard this aspect of like this element of I needed to date myself. And then, like, this idea of not, I didn't want to be someone who was dating the same person with a different name. Because I couldn't learn the lesson from the previous relationship. And I was like, and that was what I had walked out of. Like, the last breakup was devastating, and it was like a double betrayal that day, that 24-hour period. Not only did I have a betrayal from the breakup, but it was also another relationship. So it was like a double whammy, and it just repeated this pattern that I had just kind of seen of this pain. And I just remember that was like that was my codependency bottom, for sure. And I just, there was a saying, um, I think I just surrendered to not knowing. I think I just kind of was like, I'm done pretending I know or just know for
That was
anybody.
your name on Match.com, LTW 702. Love, trust, we'll see.
Yeah. But that kind of comes from, I got the LTW from that Chinese parable of the farmer.
My Match.com name was Happy Yogi 7. But I told him earlier it should have been Crazy Yogi 7. I didn't yet know how crazy I was. I was still in the denial phase, thinking that it was everybody else was the problem. I really thought
we all have layers.
Yeah.
We all have layers. I mean, I showed up thinking that I was Mr. Perfect, Mr. Recovery, and I, had this pedestal that I had to jump off of, get kicked off of, fall off of.
And two, there is this element of going through really painful past relationships, and like for me, I had just come from this cycle that really felt impossible to break. It felt just fully like I would never get out, and I didn't know how to get out. But through doing these things for me and following that and returning to my deepest part of myself, the way appeared, right? Step in the way will appear. And it did. But it's gnarly because I never realized how much you bring the past with you everywhere you go. And it's like that quote of talking about all the little fires you leave burning behind. And this element of, you can never really be at peace until you put out the fires. And that can be internally, but just facing. So much of life is about just facing those fires that we really don't want to face. And then once we do, it's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. It was real. It happened. It led me here. Thank God. But I did almost leave right in our first date.
Talk more into that. Speak more into that, please.
Because, I lived solely in my mind. So I was searching for red flags and just anything that I was hypercritical. But because you mentioned your ex-wife like right away.
You say that I did, but I say that I didn't. But
Right, which, okay.
I'm sure you're right.
On some level, and so I was just like, no. And then I thought you were stoned. And then I found out you weren't. And I was like, oh, okay. When I found out too, like it was just like you were everything that until that point I didn't know I wanted. Like, which is why, like, truly, like, this element that you can ever think with your mind that you know really who's for you.
I think that was so exciting about meeting you. Like, I just remember, like, just being very drawn and just thinking, like, you were just so adorable. Like, I don't know, like, just this feeling of just, like, I just adored, like, your presence and your energy. And, like, that's what I wanted to feel. But I didn't understand, and, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and you can't, it takes time to peel, and we are really good at hiding what we want to hide, but God is good. God knows what's up. He paired us together. He knew what I needed.
Well,
like, you were like exactly what I needed, and I didn't know, and we didn't even know what each other was even bringing to the table. Truly. You literally just show up, and it just, hopefully you get out of the way so you can get through the pain quickly, I guess. I don't know.
To the first time I went to your house and the first time I met Brain and Kybella it's forever in me. It was just like this instant.
I think too, I recognized, like, I knew the love and the structure that I had to offer someone, and I knew that it was extremely valuable, and it was like, look, like, either you see it and you appreciate it, or you don't, and see you later.
Smell you later. It was it's just so sweet and so funny, and like just knocking on the door and seeing Kybella just open the blinds and just her little face, and then she's here, like just hearing, and then Brayden, and then just going in, and it was just like they were wrapping yarn around all of the dining room chairs, like doing this funny craft. And you had a garden, and you're like, oh, can you go pick something for the salad I'm making? I'm like, sure. Am I in heaven? Absolutely, I'm in heaven. It felt like I entered heaven. And then again, the fantasy, right, eventually wears off, and you're face to face with who you really are and who I really am and what's really going on, and that's what sort of makes the relationship.
And hopefully there's enough there to keep you attached long enough to dissolve the shit. Hopefully that you see enough light in the shadow, in the darkness, to stick around and wrestle through it.
That's really it. Like, on some level, I'm just so grateful, because there was always this feeling within me of, like, this is it. Like, there's nowhere to run. Like, on some level, I knew that for this relationship to dissolve, it would have been because I was unable to dissolve my ego, unable to be love. Like, because you have a way of honoring the truth, right? Of almost like, I don't want to say forgiving first, but seeing the whole picture first. And me, it takes a little longer.
I would say that is a skill that I have acquired, that everyone can acquire through doing, like, inventory and doing just that work. Like, writing out, your resentment, discovering, what was your part, what activated, what was the cause, and just seeing how no matter what situation I've ever come up with, I've always had a part in it. And it took me years of arguing face to face over situations demanding that I wasn't responsible, and having people take the time to break it down with me and to show me where I was to where I've, like, I can't, like, it's just, if you just, we all have a part at some level.
Yes, we do. I love you.
Something else I was going to say, and you took me to that spot, and now I can't remember. What was I saying?
We're going to have our 7-year itch soon. Just kidding. I think it's like, I don't know. For me, it feels like it's only gotten better. I've only gotten happier. It's only gotten safer.
I know what I was going to say.
What?
So when you were saying all that about, like, what it was like for you in the beginning, for me too, like, in the other aspect that I had with me too, is like, it's the same way, like, sometimes I play poker, is I'm all in or I fold. Like, there was just, I checked a few things off at the box at the beginning, like, and it was like, okay, like, I'm going all in. And, like, because for me it was like, I want this to dissolve fast or connect fast. Like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to have to spend 3 years to figure out that we're not really good for each other.
And that works well with me because I am a fast and forever, and then a
so we move
quick.
fast. We move fast.
I'm fire.
So we met in June, and then I feel like we had 8 dates within like 10 or 12 days. And then you moved in within 6 weeks. We were engaged.
Yes.
After a year or before a year?
We got engaged that New Year's Eve, I think. Oh, no, we didn't. We talked about, no? When did we? A year?
No, it was less, because then we were married in September of 2016. So we were married within a year and a half of meeting.
Yep, a year and a half. 999.
And I don't think that if we would have moved that fast, that we would have worked through the difficulties that we had. Like, I don't think I would have worked through some of the things that we had to work through if we weren't at first living together so soon and then married.
100. It really made me, a lot of things made me stay. There were so many things that made me stay.
God was at play. He was like, nope. I know you don't feel like, I know you think that, everybody's telling you shouldn't move in and shouldn't move this fast, but I'm telling you, this is how it has to be done.
Mm-hmm. 100. And trusting our hearts. That's one thing I love about you. And I think that's one of the reasons we connect. I trust your connection to your heart, and you trust mine.
I trust God.
That's what your heart is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that was fun.
All right. Well, that was fun. Let's top 5 pet peeves. It's when you, like, just go from 0 to 100, because I don't line up specific with you.
Okay. Top 5 pet peeves, everybody. Woohoo! Let's go.
That was my top 1 right there. What you just did.
Okay. I used to have a lot of pet peeves because I used to be pretty wound. I used to be wound very tight. I still am. But now when I think of pet peeves, literally it just comes down to ignorance. My pet peeve is ignorance, is people that think they know when they don't know. And I'm guilty of it too. So that's probably why it's my pet peeve. But I would say that
the one that's hard for me to pass is just people being mean.
Littering. That's a pet peeve. When people just throw things out the window.
Plastic is a pet peeve.
Water bottles are a pet peeve of mine. They are. Plastic water bottles are a pet peeve. Like, pet peeve. There's no reason anymore. We need plastic made out of hemp, you guys.
Science.
Let's do it.
Science and medicine, Western like doctors and medicine is a pet peeve of mine right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too.
A lot of their systems and beliefs.
Yeah. Facebook fact checkers.
All right, that's enough of that one. Let's not go too far down that.
Yeah, let's not go too far down that one. Yeah, I don't really... That's cool. I don't have as many pet peeves as I used to. Like, about dumb things. Like, a lot of things used to really bother me.
We'll do a shout out?
Yeah, let's do a shout out. My shout out of the week is to Graffiti Park. You can follow them on Instagram, Graffiti Park _LV. But they're a group of artists. They're about collaboration over, what's the other word? Competition. That's it. And I found them through Instagram. And they go into elementary schools here in Vegas. With the help, they do a calling all artists and make murals and art in the hallways of these schools. And it's so beautiful. It's so amazing to me. They went into my elementary school, Ronzoni, and made it amazing. And I think about little girl me, had I had those halls to walk through, you know, just what that could have awakened in me and gave me a little more color and light in life and hope and just to be surrounded by that, it becomes a part of you. So thank you, Graffiti Park. You're awesome.
Go Graffiti Park. Mine is Angel Park. Angel Park Golf on Instagram. And they're the Las Vegas Ultimate Golf Experience, which I would back that up, being the fact that they have 2 18-hole championship golf courses, the 9-hole par 3 course, the 9-hole putting course, the driving range, and then they got like a practice chipping area, and they've got 3 big practice putting greens, and right now they've been letting us use one of the putting greens to do our clinics on Sundays, and then they've been letting us walk the hole number 1 on one of the championship courses like the last 30 minutes of sunlight, so that, you know, just allowing more people just to have that opportunity to just like, what does it even feel like to be on a golf course? So shout out to Angel Park.
Yes, thank you, Angel Park. You've made golf for me possible. No one saw that coming. But I'm a putting king. In fact, I won the PGA Tour this last year. There's a video of it on my channel in case you don't believe me. It really happened. Wink, wink. That was beautiful, baby. And now I think it's time for closing statements. Pretend the sound is on here. It will be on here for real. Closing statements. One thing I'd like to say is that you're the first ginger I've ever been with.
Once you go ginger.
Only a ginger can unhinge her.
Ginger magic.
But it's funny to think, like, the first time I saw your pictures, I don't know, it didn't really settle in. Like, I didn't think, like, anything about it. Nothing. It's funny because then you let me know that some women go crazy for gingers.
Yeah. But it's like a rare thing though. And it's like, I've just like only experienced it like in the last couple of years with you, because I think I've just kind of started to look like a man and not like a little boy. But being a little boy redhead was never a good fit or a good look. I don't know. Whatever. I don't have to worry about it anymore, so I'm grateful.
Well, shout out to all the redheads in the world.
Yeah, it ain't always easy being a redhead.
I love you, gingers.
Yeah. my closing statement, what came up for me was like, in dating, it's not always what stood out to me was not knowing what you want, but really just kind of understanding what you don't want. And, that kind of helped me. I don't know why that came up just now, but.
Nice. I wasn't done with my closing statement. But this is good. Let's go back and forth like a ping pong. I figured normally our closing statements are kind of long.
Well, yeah, you just ramble.
Yeah, that's what a podcast. I'm a rambling man. I also wanted, what part of my closing statement, you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my shirt. But this shirt's available, kingpolly.com. It's my colorful teddy bears. It says, dream on, make believe, and listen to your fucking heart. It's so cute. I love this shirt.
A very cute shirt.
And I love the teddy bears. And I wrote it in my handwriting.
I don't know if people know, like, you design, you draw, like, you do everything. Everything that anybody sees on kingpolly.com, King Pollys World, like, all of it. Like, fonts, characters, like, all your editing, like, all that stuff you do. Like, you're amazing. You're an amazing artist. You're so colorful and creative. I love it.
Baby, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, you're a genius.
I appreciate that. I do all of it. And sometimes it's hard. Especially when it's things that, like writing descriptions and making links and editing and things that aren't as creative. It's harder to have the motivation to do it. But again, like the last few years, what else? When you find what you're here to do, it's like, what else am I going to do? Like, just one step at a time.
I don't know. I'm just stepping into that. So, you definitely are an inspiration. So, it's been cool to watch you. Thanks for leading the way.
You're so sweet. I'm glad you're my husband, and I'm glad you held out on Match.com as long as you did.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't leave on that first date.
Oh my God. I think about that and I just go, thank you, God, because my life would.
I'm just glad I didn't kick you out with all your little tantrums.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. It's true though. I guess, how would you describe my tantrums? I don't even know how would you describe them? I get
child trauma tantrums in an adult body.
I guess that is how I would describe them. Yeah. There was and oh my God, that's something too, babe. Before we got married, you were like, we have to go to therapy.
You had to commit to therapy. We had to commit to therapy for once a month.
Yeah. Which I would have never gone. As much as I knew it was good, my ego was like very against it. And it was your longtime therapist. So I was like, oh, she's going to side with you. And, all that stuff. But then I went. And it's just so funny to think, like, from that first day being like, oh, I had a great childhood. I was Daddy's little princess. To, like, the last day where it was just like, oh, shit, my childhood was nothing like I thought. Now everything makes a lot more sense. I'm not just bad and wrong and crazy. Like, there's a reasoning behind this. There's deep-seated things there.
Yeah, there was definitely a season that came upon us where I was like, okay, I can't go any further unless you commit to at least going to therapy once a month. And
we almost got divorced.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't say we almost got divorced, but divorce came up.
Yeah, we were pushed. It
was very low. It was a very low point.
It was tough. It was a tough season. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was tough. But it was like the last of the ghost had to be rang out of me. It felt like. What? What's so funny?
We've all had multiple ghosts that we've had to ring out.
Well, that was a one specific ghost. The ghost of Christmas past. Oh my God.
Whatever you want to call it, I don't know. I have no idea what it was.
Do you think anybody knows what we're talking about ever?
I don't ever know what we're talking about most of the time. Just try to be present.
I'm kidding.
Translate.
That's why we're here. It's literally we show up and we be present.
That's all. I feel like that's all any of us really have to offer anymore.
Right? Like it's not even about enough of the mind stuff. It's about just showing up and being and sharing from the heart. You guys see what I'm dealing with here?
What are you dealing with here?
Just give me the answer I want all the time. Right on cue.
Okay. I'll give you everything you want when you want it. All right. Anything else?
I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Maybe you're listening to it, maybe you're watching it, but it really means a lot. And every view does count. And we really appreciate you. I appreciate you more than anybody, though. Me. I love you more than anybody in the world. Just kidding. That's not true. Don't believe it, too, if some guy's telling you that. Hey, no one's going to love you as much as I love you. They're lying. There's somebody that will love you more. I'm proof. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our fun episode of our origin story. Check out the links below. And
Match.com. Hook us up.
Yeah, hook us up, Match.com. Let us be in a commercial.